Chapter 27, Not Much. Yang Xingxing finished a day of work and returned home. Yang Kaiqing still hadn't returned. Looking at the quiet house, suddenly her nose ached. She cried loudly at the door. Yang Kaiqing just returned home, saw such a scene. His wife squatted at the door without any image, hugging her knees and crying until she couldn't breathe, like a lost child who couldn't find her parents, extremely wronged. He secretly closed the door, quietly guarding behind her. His tiger eyes couldn't help but become moist. Yang Xingxing had suffered these past few years, he also knew, so he let her deliberately cause trouble, always had to coax her. He touched his pocket. Today the captain hesitantly looked at him, angrily waved a piece of paper. Thinking of the arrogance in the captain's eyes, Yang Kaiqing couldn't help but feel a bit hopeful, clenched his fist. This was the last time. We will definitely cooperate. If this surgery at their hospital can be successful, it will be a very good thing for the hospital. Okay, thank you. Du Rua walked out of the pediatric cardiology department office. Dr. Du, how are you discussing with the director? When are you going to do the surgery? Wu Tingfei's family hurriedly came to greet them. That day, they thought for a long time, discussed with their family, asked foreign friends to find out, did all kinds of things, and finally decided to invite this Dr. Du to do the surgery for their child. Everything is ready, we will do the surgery for the child tomorrow. Du Rua spoke each word clearly and told the Wu family their decision. Tonight, you should rest well, tomorrow is a fierce battle. Of course, Dr. Du must also rest well. This is the most important thing in a child's life. As a mother, she is stronger than anyone else. Okay, I still have some work to prepare for surgery that needs to be announced, so I should leave first. Du Rua nodded to everyone, turned around and left. Huang Xianwei looked at the figure that kept walking away. Even though she was wearing a white dress, she couldn't hide her elegance, young and beautiful, completely unlike a doctor. She patted the hand that was holding her shoulder, raised her head and said to her husband, "We have to believe. If we have chosen, we have to believe," Wu Tingfei muttered. Huang Xianwei nodded. Qiao family. Mom? What did you say? Qiao Xian was so scared that she jumped up from the sofa, looking at her parents in disbelief. Not getting an answer, she turned her head to look at the head of the family. Grandpa? What did my mother just say? Old Master Qiao was so angry that his whole body was shaking, not wanting to say anything. The other Qiao family members were also surprised when Yu Jingya said the matter, but quickly calmed down. All of them lowered their heads, secretly calculating the details. The second daughter-in-law of the Qiao family. When Liz Hen stomped hard on her husband Qiao Zhengwo's foot under the table, seeing that he never bowed his head, she gritted her teeth in resentment. What a useless man. She faked a few coughs, seeing everyone looking at her, she unnaturally shifted her position. Dad, let me make it clear first, this matter of my second brother and sister-in-law, our family can't help with anything. Yi Jingya opened her eyes wide, looked towards old Master Qiao, and said nervously, Dad. When Liz Hen was also unwilling, Dad, you also know, Xiao Ai's father is a small official in Shangjing. If in other places he would be considered a figure, but in Shangjing he is nothing, he is just an errand boy. Unlike my second brother and sister-in-law's family, our family doesn't have any money. Qiao Jianguo pulled Wen Lizhen, making her not need to say more. When Lizhen waved his hand, Humph a sound turned his head to the other side, not looking at this man who was feeling wronged. Dad, we really have no way this time. If we don't compensate for that money, then Li Gua is finished. Yi Jingya's eyes were red as she begged old Master Qiao, originally planning to find Du Rua without anyone knowing, secretly compensate for it, after the matter was over, then tell the old master, who knows, that stinky girl Du Rua also didn't know if she had evaporated from the world, completely unable to find her. Seeing that time was getting more and more urgent, the only way was to wait until the whole family gathered, tell the old master, only then could Qiao Ligua's brothers and sisters bleed a little, if not on this day, if it was a little later, how could they still find her? Sister-in-law, you said this, where did you take that money? Can't you take it back, to make up for the shortfall? Who wants to treat money like trash? You embezzle money, and want to use other people's money to make up for it. When Liz Hen saw someone speaking, immediately echoed. That's right, sister-in-law, third sister is right. Where is the money? Of course it's all spent. Yi Jingya was blocked, her face red. Third sister, sister-in-law, our Ligua falling is not a good thing for the Qiao family. Cut, if it doesn't fall, what good is it for us? When Liz Hen pretended to study her nails, her voice not too loud nor too small as she muttered. You. Yi Jingya's anger turned into anger, her eyes looked fiercely at Wen Liz Hen. She was so angry that she spoke incoherently. You for half a day couldn't say the reason why. TSK, looking at such a fierce appearance, normally in front of others she still pretends to be gentle and respectful, obedient. When Liz Hen had a little brother is a bit scared appearance, patting her chest, hiding behind her husband, her mouth still not forgetting to provoke sister-in-law. Don't be like that, I'm telling the truth. Enough. Qiao Ligua roared angrily when Liz Hen was scared and shrank back a bit, whispering, ferocious. He glared fiercely at Wen Liz Hen, looked around at the brothers and sisters who had not said a word, stood up, humph, my matter, I will solve it myself, I don't ask you guys. Turned around pretending to leave, and finally glanced at the old master who was sitting there without saying a word. Liu Gua. Yi Jingya saw that old master Qiao was slow to speak, immediately grabbed his hand, turned her head to look at old master Qiao. Dad, please help us a little, we really have no way. When Liz Hen disdainfully curled her lips, real or fake? Let go, we will go find the money ourselves. Qiao Ligua fiercely shook off her hand. All right. Everyone sit down for me. Old Master Qiao shouted in a low voice, coughed a few times. The old master glanced at old Madame Qiao. When she patted her chest, tell me a little, how much money did you guys take? Seeing that the goal had been achieved, Qiao Ligua and Yi Jingya secretly glanced at each other, sat down intelligently, and coughed unnaturally. Dad, it's not that much, more than 16 million. Before Du Xiao was alive, such a sum of money was just a small amount to him, so at that time his eyes didn't move a bit, and he didn't take it to heart at all. The Qiao family members all opened their eyes wide to look at this big brother in front of them, as if they were seeing an alien. Even though old Master Qiao had prepared himself mentally, he was still startled. He stood up, took the staff in his hand, and immediately hit Qiao Ligua. Everyone quickly stepped forward to stop him. When Liz Hen also softly comforted him, Father, don't be angry, it will hurt your body. It wasn't that she was worried that old Master Qiao would hit Qiao Ligua, but she was really afraid that old Master Qiao would be provoked. If he was provoked, Qiao family might have a hard time getting through. Even though everyone stopped him in time, Qiao Ligua was still hit twice heavily. For the farce before her eyes, Qiao Xian had been sitting on the sofa since the beginning, unable to wake up. She was completely shocked. In her heart she could not help but resent her parents. If it wasn't for them, she wouldn't be an illegitimate daughter. Now after a few years of hard work, seeing that she was about to marry into a high-ranking official's family, becoming a proper wife, but because of them, it turned into a dream. Qiao Xian remembered how her boyfriend's mother looked down on her when she found out about her background. In her heart she was terrified, thinking, if Qiao Ligua was dismissed from his official position or imprisoned for corruption, she definitely wouldn't let her in. She couldn't help but bite her own finger, shaking her head continuously, her mouth constantly muttering impossible, absolutely impossible. Not a lot, not a lot. Not a lot. Old Master Qiao's mouth kept repeating, then tell me, where did we get so much money? Ever since old Master Qiao retired, the Qiao family, except for Qiao Ligua's position which was considered high, the others were just a few small positions, and they basically couldn't take out that much cash immediately. Dad saw hope. Yi Jingya's face was happy as she said, we still have 3 or 4 million cash in hand. When Liz Hen laughed coldly, 3 or 4 million? Sister-in-law means to let Dad take out more than 10 million? The money stored in their house was used for relief? Dad, you must still have some money. Qiao Ligua carefully looked at the expression of the old Master Qiao, and you must also have some money. Qiao Ligua pointed at his sisters, brother-in-law, younger brother, and sister-in-law. Sister, can you lend me 1 million? The second lady of the Qiao family and her husband glanced at each other. Knowing that today this money was unavoidable, so it was better to happily take it out. After all, they sometimes had to rely on the old master. That little? Yi Jingya quickly covered her mouth, smiling, and said to the second lady of the Qiao family, second sister, is there any more? It's really not enough now. We can only take out this much. How could it be because we don't need to eat? The second Miss Qiao smiled angrily, 1 million is still too little? Qiao Ligua was helpless, and had to look towards his third sister. Don't look at me, I don't have any, most of them were used as dowry when my Ling Lin got married. The third Miss Qiao waved her hand. How could that be? Bai Ling Lin's marriage was a year ago. Qiao Ligua roughly let out a breath. Could it be that I don't even have a few 100,000? 200,000, will you take it? The third Miss Qiao said a number. Qiao Ligua and his wife glanced at each other, gritted their teeth, and said, then thank you, third sister. The little mosquito is still meat. Ah, I don't know what the second young master is so idle about. Bai Ling Lin hugged the pillow, caressed the remote control, and said carelessly, can't you find Du Rua to get it? She has so much money. The last sentence was said more sourly, the older she got, remembering when she heard about that amount of property at the notary office, she was even more shocked and jealous. How big an inheritance was that? Why didn't she have such a mother? Except for Qiao Ligua and his wife, everyone else looked at each other. Qiao family's third young lady lifted her daughter's face, baby, you're so smart. It seemed that those 200,000 didn't have to be spent, not only that, she could also get some money from that girl's hands. Old Master Qiao's heart also relaxed, finally someone thought of it. There was no need for this old master to say it himself, you guys go find that child and bring her back. Speaking of which, it had been 6 years since they had seen that girl. Even though everyone in the family was here, she didn't come back to see them, she wasn't raised to be this big. When Liz Han looked at Qiao Ligua and his wife, wanting to say something but stopping, didn't you use up all her money? Everyone immediately looked towards the two, no, we can't find her. Yi Jingya was also really angry. What are you talking about? How can you not know where your daughter is? Old Master Qiao seemed to have thought of something, his eyes widened. Could it be that you guys haven't been in contact for the past few years? You don't know where she is? Impossible, everyone thought. They all thought that Du Rua had just returned unscrupulously, after all, he was kicked out by the Qiao family. If that wasn't the case, then where did Yi Jingya randomly give some expensive things? Could it be that they all flowed out from Du Rua's hands? Really, in a rich family, everyone still wants money, let alone Yi Jingya's way of doing things. She knows that she is not like Du Xiaoxiao who has money, so she often gives the good things in the house that others bring to the Qiao sisters. We can't find him. Qiao Ligua lowered his head. I know where to find him. Xiao Xian's voice broke the silence. She finally understood why her parents were so busy looking for Du Rua this time. But does he have that much money? She shook her head, not wanting to. As long as she can pass this test, as long as she can smoothly marry into the Zhang family, she will definitely find Du Rua.